Welcome back. Today we want to talk about the determination of the sum of the terms between two given terms. So let's try to form an AP. Let's say the first number is 36 and let's say we have a common difference of 3. So that will be 39. If you add 3, you have 42. Then you have 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, 60, 63, 66, 69, 72, 75, 78, 81, 84, 87, and so on. 36 will be the first term. Then we have the second term, the third term, the fourth term, the fifth term, the sixth term, the seventh term, the eighth term, the ninth term, the 10th term, the 11th term, the 12th term, the 13th term, the 14th term, the 15th term, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th. Okay? What we are familiar with is the question of the sum of the first, let's say, 6 terms. If they say the sum of the first 6 terms, that is, you should start counting from the first term way down to the 6th term. So that is going to be 36 plus 39 plus 42 plus 45 plus 48 plus 51. And if you add that, you will have 261. Okay? So we can easily get that from a formula using S sub n is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. Let's see if we can get that value 261. So the sum of the first 6 terms, n will be 6. S sub 6 is equal to 6 over 2 into 2 times the first term is 36 plus n will be 6 minus 1 times the difference is 3. So that is going to be 3 into 2 times 36 is 72 plus 6 minus 1 is 5, then multiply by 3. So that is going to be 3 into 72 plus 15, because 5 times 3 is 15. So that's going to be 3 into 72 plus 15 is 87. So what is 3 times 87? Is 261. So you see, now this is how you find the sum of the first number of terms. So which means when you start counting from the first term going onwards. But today what we want to discuss is something different a bit. Let's say they want you to find the sum of the terms from the 6th term to the 17th term. How do you get that? That is what we want to discuss. Okay, so that will be the inclusive terms. If I want to know the sum of the terms, let's say from the 6th term way down to the 17th term, that is, if you add the individual numbers from the 6th term to the 17th term, if you should do that calculation, you will have 810. Okay, let's prove that. 51 plus 54 plus 57 plus 60 plus 63 plus 66 plus 69 plus 72 plus 75 plus 78 plus 81 and then plus 84, you will have 810. Okay, that is from the 6th term way down to the 17th term, the sum is 810. Mathematicians always want to make life simple. What are the methods we can use instead of using this long addition to have that answer? Well, we have two choices. The first method is to find the sum of the first 17 terms, okay, that is starting from T1 to T17. That is, we are going for the bigger term, the sum of the first 17 terms, and after we find that, we then find the sum of the first 5 terms. We will go for one less than the smaller term, okay? Then after that, we find the difference. That will be able to give us this 810. So the first method is, if they ask you between 6th term and 17th term, 17th is the higher term, so find the sum of the first 17 terms, that is starting from T1 up to T17. The answer that you have, you keep that, then you find the sum of the first 5 terms. So if they say the sum of the first 6 terms, you have to go one less than that term. So we'll find the sum of the first 5 terms. Then when we find the difference, you should be able to have 810. This is the first method, okay? So in another example, let's say they ask us to find the sum of the terms between the 8th term to the 12th term. What we're going to do is we're going to find the sum of the first 12 terms. Then we find the sum of the first 7 terms, right? We will go one less than the lower term. Then we find the difference. When we do that, we should be able to have the answer that we want. So to answer the question, the sum of the terms between the 6th term and the 17th term using the first method, let's see what we can get. We said we're going to find the sum of the first 17 terms. So using S sub n is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. That will be S sub 17, n will be 17 there, is equal to 17 over 2 into 2 times, what is a? A is 36, plus n is going to be 17 minus 1 times the difference is 3. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. Then into 2 times 36 is 72, plus 17 minus 1 is 16. So that will be 16 times 3. So we will have 8.5 into 72 plus 16 times 3 is 48. So that will be 8.5 into 72 plus 48 is 120. So what is 8.5 times 120? You will have 1020. That is the sum of the first 17 terms. Now let's try to find the sum of the first 5 terms. So again, using S sub n is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. The sum of the first 5 terms, that will be n will be 5. S sub 5 is equal to 5 over 2 into 2 times, what is the first term? The first term is 36, plus n here will be 5 minus 1 times the difference is 3. So that is going to be 5 over 2 is 2.5 into 2 times 36 is 72, plus 5 minus 1 is 4. That will be multiplied by 3. So we're going to have 2.5 into 72 plus 4 times 3 is 12. So that will be 2.5 into 72 plus 12 is 84. So what is 2.5 times 84? That is 210. So let's say if we want to find the difference, okay? So therefore, the sum of the terms between the 17th term and the 6th term, we said that is going to be the sum of the first 17 terms minus the sum of the first 5 terms. So that is going to be 1020 minus 210. And 1020 minus 210 will give you 810. So as you can see, this is the first method that you can use to be able to find the sum of the terms between the 6th term and the 17th term inclusive. This is one of the methods. The second method that you can use is by using the average method. Okay, we can use the second method. Is known as the average method. So what is the average method? Is going to be the term that they have given you. So let's say again from the 6th term to the 17th term, that will be t sub n for the first given term, okay, plus the t sub n for the last given term. The average of that is going to be over 2, then multiply by the number of terms in between. The first and the last given, okay, terms. Okay, don't be intimidated with this formula. We will discuss that. So the number of terms in between, that is going to be the number of terms that you have from 6 to 17. You will start counting from 6 itself. So that is going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And that will give you 12 terms, okay? So for the average method, what you need to know is the average of the 6th term and the 17th term. So that is 51 plus 84 divided by 2, then multiply by the number of terms in between. So what is the number of terms in between from the 6th term to the 17th term? If you start calculating from here, that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so do that. That is 51 plus 84 divided by 2 multiply by 12. 51 plus 84 is 135 divided by 2, you'll have 67.5. If you multiply that by 12, you will have 810. You see that? So that is the second method. So how will you be able to know the number of terms that is in between the two terms? Well, if it is given in this way, you can be able to calculate it directly. But how do you find a better way? Since it says from the 6th term to the 17th term, if you subtract them, the number that you have, just add 1. Okay, so that's going to be 17 minus 6 plus 1. You will have 12 terms. Let's develop the formula very well again. That's going to be the term given for the first number that is the first given term plus the last given term, okay, the last given term over 2 multiplied by, how do we find the number of terms? We've said that that is going to be the n for the last term minus the n for the first given term, then plus 1. Okay, so let's try to show that. If we should go back, what is the sixth term? The sixth term is 51 plus what is the 17th term is 84 all over 2, then multiply by, since the n for the last term is 17 minus the n for the first given term is 6, then we add 1. So that will be 51 plus 84 is 135 all over 2 multiplied by 12. So that is going to be 67.5 multiplied by 12, and we have 810. So we said this is the way you calculate that. But now let's try to go on and solve a problem. And we have a question here that reads, the sum of the first 9 terms of an arithmetic progression is 414. The sum of the first 15 terms is 870. Determine the common difference, the first term, the sum of the 7th to the 18th term inclusive. Well, this is a word problem. First, let's try to determine the common difference and the first term. It says the sum of the first 9 terms is 414, and the sum of the first 15 terms is 870. So using S sub n is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference, the sum of the first 9 terms, n is going to be 9, so that is 9 over 2 into 2 times a, we don't know, plus n will be 9 minus 1 times the difference we don't know. So what is the sum of the first 9 terms? That is 414 is equal to 9 over 2 is 4.5 into 2 times a is 2a plus 9 minus 1 is 8. So if you multiply by d, that will be 8d. So we'll have 414 is equal to 4.5 into 2a plus 8d. I can divide both sides by 4.5. And what are we going to have? 414 divided by 4.5 is 92. That is equal to 2a plus 8d. If I want, I can factorize 2 out to simplify the equation further. So that will be 2 into 2 times what will give you 92 is 46. This is equal to 2 into a plus 2 times what will give you 8. That will be 4. So that will be 4d. In that case, 2 can cancel 2 here. So we'll have 46 is equal to a plus 4d. We can call this equation 1. Again, using S sub n is equal to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference to find the sum of the first 15 terms, which is going to be s sub 15 is equal to 15 over 2 into 2a plus n will be 15 minus 1 times the difference. So what is the sum of the first 15 terms? The sum of the first 15 terms is 870. So that is going to be 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 into 2a plus 15 minus 1 is 14 times d will be 14d. So I can say 870 is equal to 7.5 into 2a plus 14d. Then I divide both sides by 7.5. So if I divide both sides by 7.5, 870 divided by 7.5 gives 116. This is equal to 2a plus 14d. To work with smaller numbers, we can, let's say, factorize 2 out. So that will be 2 into 2 times what will give you 116 is 58. This is equal to 2 into a plus 7d. So 2 will cancel that. So we'll have 58 is equal to a plus 7d. Then we can call this equation 2. So to find d, what we can do is we can equate the a's. Okay? For equation 1, what is equation 1 is 46 equals to a plus 4d. 46 is equal to a plus 4d. So which means 46 minus 4d is equal to a, right? So for equation 2, 58 is equal to a plus 7d. So it means 58 minus 7d is equal to a. So what does that mean? Since a is constant, I can equate the two. That is 46 minus 4d should be equal to 58 minus 7d. And with that, we will be able to find d. So that will be minus 4d plus 7d is equal to 58 minus 46. If you collect the like terms, minus 4d plus 7d is 3d. This is equal to 58 minus 46 is 12. So if I divide both sides by 3, d will be equal to 4. So if d equals to 4, I can use any of the equations that I have here to find a. All right. So this is all for question 1. So question 2, using 58 minus 7d is equal to a, or any equation, you should be able to have a. So that's going to be 58 minus 7 into 4 is equal to a. 58 minus 7 times 4 is 28. This is equal to a. So therefore, a is equal to 30. Okay? So that is question 2. Question 3 is the sum of the 7th to the 18th term inclusive. Question 3, the sum of the 7th to the 18th term inclusive. Remember, we've said between two terms, we can use two formulae to get it. If we want to use the sum of the first terms, that is, we're going to say the sum of the first 18 terms, since 18 is the larger number, minus the sum of the first 6 terms. Okay, so remember, for the lower number, that is if it is the 7th term, you have to go one lower than that. Okay, if at all you want to use the sum of the first terms. Let's try to find the sum of the first 18 terms. That is going to be s sub n equals to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. So the sum of the first 18 terms, that will be 18 over 2 into 2 times a is 30 plus n will be 18 minus 1 times the difference. We calculated that as 4. So that's going to be 9 into 2 times 30 is 60 plus 18 minus 1 is 17 multiplied by 4. So that's going to be 9 into 60 plus 17 times 4 is 68. So that's going to be 9 into 60 plus 68 is 128. 9 into 128 is 1152. That is, we have calculated the sum of the first 18 terms. So let's calculate the sum of the first 6 terms. Sum of the first 6 terms, again using s sub n equals to n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. So the sum of the first 6 terms, that will be s sub 6 equals to 6 over 2 into 2 times a is 30 plus n will be 6 minus 1 times the difference is 4. So 6 over 2 is 3 into 2 times 30 is 60 plus 6 minus 1 is 5. That will be multiplied with 4. So that will be 3 into 60 plus 5 times 4 is 20. So that will be 3 into 60 plus 20 is 80. So 3 times 80 is 240. So if we find the difference of the two numbers that we have, that is 1152, 1152 minus 240, that should give us the answer. Okay, that is 912. So the sum of the terms between the 7th and the 18 terms is going to be 1152 minus 240, which is 912. But we have used the alternative formula as well. We said alternatively, we can calculate that as the first given term. What is the first given term that they have given? Is the 7th term. So that will be 7th term plus the last term given is the 18th term all over 2. That is the average multiplied by the n. So what is the n of the last term? Is going to be 18 minus the n of the first given term is 7. Then we add 1. Okay, so what is the 7th term? Using t sub n equals to a plus n minus 1 times the difference. The first term is 30, right? The first term is 30 plus n will be 7 minus 1 times the difference is 4. So that is, we are finding the 7th term. So that is going to be 30 plus 6 times 4. So that's going to be 30 plus 6 times 4 is 24. So that is going to be 54. So it means the 7th term is 54. If I want to find the 18th term using t sub n equals to a plus n minus 1 times the difference. The 18th term will be a is 30 plus n will be 18 minus 1 times the difference there is 4. So that will be 30 plus 17 times 4. So we're going to have 30 plus 17 times 4 is what? 68. 30 plus 68 is 98. So it means the 18th term is 98. So to go and use that formula, that is this. The 7th term is 54 plus the 18th term is 98. We find the average of that, multiply by 18 minus 7 plus 1. So that's going to be 54 plus 98. You have 152. When you divide that by 2, you will have 76. Multiply by 18 minus 7 plus 1 is 12. So 76 times 12 is 912. You can use any of the methods to get your answer, whichever is simpler for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. If this is the first time of visiting this channel, please subscribe to the channel, like and share our video. You can also share your thoughts in the comment sections.